Hotty toddy, Ole Miss fans, and welcome to the Brad and Chad Show on the OM Network. Brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans, made in the USA. This is the show by and for Ole Miss fans, where you'll get expert insight and analysis on Ole Miss athletics. And now, here are your hosts, former Rebels Chad Flowers and retired NFL star Bradley Sowell.
Podcast time.
Welcome, Ole Miss fans. Another episode of the Brad and Chad Show brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. I'm Chad Flowers. Bradley, how are you today, man?
Good, man. Got up. I had my few depressing days, put them behind me. Ate like shit one more time after that ass beating the LSU gave us. Actually got up, and I wanted to do the same thing I hope the team did. I got up and got a crazy workout this morning. Try to work myself to death to, just got to get better, like our team. So feel good today, man. I mean, it's, hopefully they're prepping and ready to go. Excited. We got Billy Lucci on here today, who's, the TexAgs god. He knows all about Texas A&M. He's the guy. So we're excited to hear from him and get some insight on, what A&M's got and kind of what he's seeing there as well.
Yeah, glad to hear that you're recovering well from the loss on Saturday. That's good to hear. I do have to issue a little bit of a mea culpa to you. I badmouthed your Bears on Sunday.
Yeah, get some.
And look, my favorite play, we got a clip of it. My favorite play was this one right here. Go ahead and play it, Patrick.
Akeem Hicks scored a touchdown last week. Can they give it to him again?
Oh, baby.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar there, that is
lineman eligible for the touchdown.
How does it feel to have Al Michaels mispronounce your name on national television?
Oh man, dude, that was the good old days, man. Al Michaels, he could say whatever. I was just excited to get a little snag there. So
you're an awful dancer, by the way. Awful.
Hey, well, here's the thing, dude. When you catch something like when you know it's gonna be your only freaking touchdown ever in the NFL, like you're trying to go viral at that point, right? I need to monetize my moment. So no crap, dude. I was doing appearances and crap. Like I had to do that dance. I didn't even know what the hell I did. And I had to figure out what that dance was because I had to recreate it, multiple times in Chicago. So I was trying to monetize my big ass best I could there, and I think I did all right.
Yeah, and if you're just listening to us, that was the one and only touchdown that Bradley Sowell scored in the NFL. So if you want to check that out on YouTube and see that dance, it is fantastic. But I don't want to keep our guest waiting. So like you mentioned already, Bradley, we've got Billy Lucci. He's the executive editor and co-owner of TexAgs.com. He's going to be joining us on the Nest and Wild Hotline. Billy, how are you today, man?
I'm good, guys. Sorry, it's a little dark in here. I'm in. I ran late and I'm in like a little office cubicle. Probably about as good a lighting as my regular office has, but I would either be in the studio or at my house. We'd be better lighting, but probably a barking dog. So anyway, it fits the mood right now in College Station. Anyway,
based off the guns, man, looks like you're at the gym or something. There you go.
I am actually. So it's like a little pre-interview pump.
Oh, there you go. All right. So before we get into Texas A&M, I got to ask you, I know you're an Astros fan. What's your predictions on the World Series?
Man, they've been rolling, obviously. It's been a hell of a fun ride. But I think the Phillies I've seen this before with the Washington Nationals a couple of years ago. And I think that Mariners team was pretty damn hot. And had that thing just gone that much differently, that series could have easily been like a 5-game war of attrition with the Mariners. So I actually think Philly's going to give the Astros a much tougher test than the Yankees did. I like the Astros, though. I'm going to say I like the Astros in 6.
Oh, there it is. There's our prediction. So we'll see.
What do you think? Yeah, are we going to hear it?
I'm in somebody's office.
That's all right. Tell them to come in if they need.
Are we going to hear some noises? Are they going to be banging trash cans or no? Are we going to actually win one this time?
No. Oh, you talking about down the
Astros?
No, the Astros. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win without the trash cans.
There you go.
It'll be all good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, my wife's from Houston, so we follow they're decent friends with Mr. Crane and all that, so we follow the Astros pretty heavy as well. So I'm glad to see him back in there, right? Like this kind of validates like, hey, that team's good. I don't care if they knew the pitch or not, or whatever. So it's a good ball team.
Yeah, it is. They're fun. I've gotten to know Correa a few years ago. I brought him to the A&M Alabama game after his rookie season. So that was a good, like, a nice friendship to watch him kind of evolve into the superstar that he was. And he's not there now, but I've been to so many games in the last few years with a little more of a vested interest. And I was I was born just outside of the Bronx. So I grew up a Yankees fan. And over time, those guys, between Josh Beckett and the Red Sox, he's an A&M signee from way back in the day. And then Carlos, I've kind of converted away. So I was all in with the Astros during this run, and it's been fun. It's a fun distraction when you lose a game at South Carolina and you have an ALCS to worry about.
Not just without even the South Carolina game. You've already had a busy start to the week. There's some rumors swirling about freshmen and things like that. Anything that anybody that's going to be out on Saturday against the Rebels?
Yeah, I think you're going to be without 4 freshmen, and the same thing happened. 2 of the 4 players are the same, and Denver Harris and Chris Marshall, but 4 of the guys were suspended against Miami. Now you have 4 more suspended now, I think indefinitely, although that hasn't been officially released from Jimbo, but that's what I've heard from several sources and reported last night. Indefinite, is that 1 week? Is it the rest of the season? I don't know, but I know it's this week. So of those guys, one of them I haven't said yet because I wanted to be, it's something like this. But I'll just put it this way. It's a freshman that plays in the rotation. And Chris Marshall was one of your starting receivers. He hadn't produced a ton yet, but had a nice game against Bama. Big time talent, 5-star player. And Denver Harris played a lot, although he's missed a couple of games last week included, but he plays a lot for them at cornerback, and he's supremely talented. So some hits, yes, but I think more than anything else, it's the distraction element of it. And weirdly enough, I think for this week anyway, there are a lot of concerns and red flags that something like this raises, and the fact that it's the second time that this has happened.
Sure.
This year, and you're losing football games. You guys know you cover football. I didn't play it, but you guys play it long enough. And I've had roommates all through college that played it, and this stuff happens when teams lose. So that part of it, I think people around the country are making a much bigger deal of. The bigger issue is, why are they losing football games? 4 out of 7 to App State, to South Carolina. Why are they falling behind so big, so early on the road? You guys saw what happened in Oxford last year. It happened against Arkansas. It happened against South Carolina and Baton Rouge last year. Like, there's a lot more significant issues, but when you lose all of this stuff.
Yep.
What do you attribute those, Billy? What do you attribute those issues to? Is it? I know you've had injuries on the offensive line. There's a lot of rumors on Jimbo's offensive scheme. What do you attribute those reasons to?
Here's what I keep telling people, and you guys know DJ Durkin well.
Yep.
I think he's doing a good job. Is it a great defense? No. Is it because they struggle against stopping the run, which is going to be really interesting this week with, I think, both teams trying to run the hell out of the football. Yeah. But the defense has been solid. They don't give up a lot of points. They've been rock solid. They gave up 30 to South Carolina, but you guys saw it was a kickoff return for a touchdown. It was a very short field inside of 20 yards or so, and then it was another short drive. The defense has been good. Not great, but good. I think 80% of what's ailing A&M, and I'm talking about as a program, not just this year. This year it might be 90%. 80% is just this offense, his inability to be explosive, to put up points, particularly on the road. You watch, it wouldn't surprise me to come out on a good offensive game Saturday, but particularly on the road, and this is over an extended period of time. There's no tempo. The passing game, it just feels like it's just like pulling teeth to get the yards and to get the big plays, and they're so few and far between. And this has been going on for a long time, and defense has been actually very good, at times great, always at good to very good under Jimbo in 5 years. It's the
Yeah.
It's the offense, and I think it's the O-line injuries are not helping. Inconsistency and injuries at quarterback, but I think that's a direct byproduct of the O-line. And look, we're in year 5, and we could go spend an hour talking about the reasons why, but Jimbo still hasn't found his QB.
Right.
Whereas I look at Oxford, Mississippi, and Lane Kiffin's found his QB, twice in 3 years.
Because when you look at Jimbo, he has a pedigree. He won a national championship at Florida State, but he had Jameis Winston. So is it he's got to find that one quarterback, or is the offense just not capable of being as productive as it was in this day's college football?
I think the offense needs to change. I think that would help the quarterback. I think it would help the offensive line. I see guys that are thinking so much of what's happening is clearly mental. And we have a couple of NFL linemen on our show every week. I think 4 old roommates played in the NFL that really care about A&M football. We talk all the time. There's an NFL offensive line coach I talk to regularly. Everyone's saying it's clearly too complicated for them. There's just not physical, but mental mistakes on almost every play. And I don't even know where to begin on how much more difficult, you guys know this, it's making it on the quarterback. So I think it's the offense in general. It's in the old school pro style offense. And when you get it all ratcheted up, and when Kellen Mond's a senior that started for 3 years, and you have 4 seniors on your O-line, including a guy that started in the NFL as a rookie, and then your 5th guy is a eventual first-round pick in Kenyon Green, and you have a 3rd-round pick at running back in Isaiah Spiller, and you have Devon Achane backing him up,
Yep.
and an NFL tight end, then guess what? It looks great. It's very hard to stop. But when you're not, it requires that. It almost requires that to be able to do it. So that to me in college football today, that's too big an ask. Everything's changing so quickly. Guys aren't going to be patiently waiting in your system to matriculate, up through the system. So it is 10 years makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
Do I think Jimbo Fisher can scheme and call plays? Hell yeah, I do. Do I like the tempo or the lack thereof and the lack of ability to really put real pressure on a defense that I see defenses do to A&M all the time, or offenses that I see offenses do around college football every week? No, I don't see any of that.
How much longer does Jimbo have to figure it out, you think, Billy?
Longer than people outside of College Station believe. That contract, everyone sees it as a curse. It could be a blessing. I think we'll see we'll see.
Well, yeah, you see college programs pulling the plug too soon. You don't really get a chance to build something. So, like you said, this could be a blessing. I guess my question for you now is, do you worry now that with the struggles that they're having, he's going to have to not only recruit, the new class coming in, but recruit players to stay in College Station?
Yeah, for sure. And I think everybody has to do that. But when you're losing, it's magnified, and particularly on the offensive side of the ball when the grass is greener at all these other places.
The only other question that I have for you is, what kind of crowd can Rebel fans expect? I mean, is excitement still pretty high? Do you expect a full house at Kyle Field on Saturday?
Yeah, I don't know if full, but close. I mean, I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. Ole Miss is going to come in, and A&M is going to try to give them the Shea Patterson treatment, and not the 2014. Not the 2014 treatment when Ole Miss came in here and it was a great crowd and it was 21-0 after 3 possessions. So hopefully A&M will maybe it's Connor Wigman does his best Shea Patterson. We'll see. It should be a fun game. I think the atmosphere will be terrific.
Great. Well, Billy, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. That's Billy Lucci on the Nest and Wild Hotline. I think Bradley will be down there this weekend, so show him some.
Yeah, dude. I look forward to hanging out with Aaron Rodgers' doppelganger over there, man. He definitely stole your look, Billy. I think he looked on Google and said
sure.
how to look like a bad A, and he took Billy Lucci's look and he said, "Hey, I'm bringing this to Aaron Rodgers." So
yeah, sadly, I look older than him right now, but I don't look as old as Nick, so we got that going.
No, nobody does. So you speak better than him too.
All right, looking forward to it, guys.
See you this weekend, buddy. Look forward to meeting you, man.
Thank you. You too. See you.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
That's Billy Lucci on the Nest and Wild hotline. Nest and Wild mattresses made right here in Mississippi, backed by a 99-night guarantee. You can try it out. You can find them on nestandwild.com. You can find them on Amazon. So try them out. Great product. So that's Nest and Wild. So Bradley, good stuff from Billy. So it really does look like if the Rebels play like they have in those spurts that they've seen, and we've seen this season, Texas A&M's real beat up, even more beat up than we are with the suspensions that they have. They lost 2 more starting offensive linemen this week for the season. On paper, it seems like another good opportunity for the Rebels to pick up a win.
Yeah, it does, man. And it's going to I think it's all going to be about mindset for us, right? Like they're Ellen, their backs are against the wall. So we're going to get a hostile environment. We're going to get their best shot, man. You got Jimbo's all over him this week. His job is definitely at risk here. I mean, he's had a rough little go at it. I mean, they can't go 3-5, right? Like they're 3-4 right now. You mess around, drop one at home to Ole Miss, and it's tough. So we're going to get their best shot. Like Billy was saying, off camera when we were talking to him before, like he thought that, this is when A&M does their, this is when they usually surprise you, right? This is when they usually have the Alabama type performance, the Miami type performance. This is going to be a tough matchup for us. On paper, should we beat them? Yeah, we probably should. If I think they were coming to Oxford, I think we beat them by 20. I'm going to be honest with you. I think we beat them by 20 or more. But with us going out there, coming off a bad loss, we got to make sure we go in there with a fresh mindset. Can't come in there limping, doing a loser's limp into Texas, and it could get ugly. So I think we're good. This is going to be a good game, and I think we better come there prepared.
Is this going to be your first trip to College Station?
No, I've been before. My wife's from the Woodlands, Texas, so
okay.
We're out there in Texas quite a bit. I go to a lot of baseball. I've been to some baseball games at A&M. I've been out there a couple times.
I asked that because I've been to a game at Kyle Field, and it's loud, right?
Yeah.
So dealing with Death Valley and Baton Rouge last week, you've got Kyle Field this week. Based on what you saw last week against LSU, what do you think that they're doing prep-wise? Anything different or working on to get ready for that environment?
Yeah, no, I think we've handled the noise fine. I mean, there wasn't a ton of false starts or bad snaps or crazy stuff that was put on by the noise, I thought. I think, but it does help going from the environment. You just came into a similar environment. So now it's just like, okay, I kind of know what to mentally prepare for. I know what to visualize in your mind. Cause as a player, man, like a lot of the time, a lot of your anxiety and a lot of your stuff you visualize for the game, then you get out there and it either is or it isn't what you thought, So, I think that they'll kind of get a week to prepare, they've had a week to prepare for it. They should be good in the noise. So I think it'll be much like last week. Just, hey, this week, though, we got to finish drives. Like Kiffin said in his press conference, in the red zone, I think we were 2 for 5 this week. When you're on the road, you got to roll 7s there. So, I'm hoping they're prepping more for that.
I listened to Lane's midweek press conference, and he helped put things in perspective for me. We'll listen to him in just a second. We're all pretty down after Saturday's loss against LSU. We're bad-mouthing the defense. We're an overrated team. We may only win, 2 more games this year, what have you. But it's real easy to make that pendulum swing too hard in the other direction. But if you listen to Lane right here, he talks about, we're just going to base this, those bad minutes, just like we would a good stretch in the good games that we've had.
Again, just pointed out, okay, here's the things that we did really well in the game, and then here's where we fell apart. And, just like when we play a really good 19 minutes, we can't let that define us and say, oh, we're great now. Just like when we play really bad 19 minutes, we can't let that, make us lose our confidence and we're no good all of a sudden.
So that kind of made me step back for a second. Yeah, there are still some issues that I think have to be figured out, but I'm not ready to throw the entire season out just off of that poor game against LSU. They did still play pretty well for a majority of it. It was just the second half really got away from them.
Yeah, and you know what? I really respect what Lane said there because it's true, right? Like you don't want to get too high and you don't want to get too low, and it works both ways, right? How we come out there and dominate LSU. You also fear the flip side of that. Hey, you think we're great because we played one complete game. It doesn't mean you're automatically going to play a complete game the next game. Vice versa, you go out there and lay an egg. That means you're going to lay an egg next game. You just had a bad stretch of football, right? And it should be a stretch that you can learn from. And he said it well. I mean that's all you can do, right? Like you can't allow that game to beat you up for the rest of the year. That doesn't mean you're a bad football team. you just played a bad stretch of ball, and hey, let's get it out of there and let's correct it and let's move on and let's avoid another stretch like that so we can win the games. It's that simple. It really is. I mean, people get so down and out about it, and myself included. But you can't define all your work from the beginning of camp all the way to 7-0 to rank 7th in the nation. You can't define it by a bad half of football.
No,
you don't suddenly become a bad team because you played a bad half. So I mean, it happens now. If it starts happening every week from here, I mean,
we see a trend.
Yeah, you're just a bad team if you go in there and get blown out at Kyle Field. You're just not as good as you thought. But he said it well there, and I think he's going to have the message right this week. You don't want to overreact. You actually want to be less crazy or less on your guys after a loss than you do after a win. I feel like a lot of times after wins, coaches were much harder on us because they were trying to control trying to get a little bit ahead of yourself. Whereas when you lose, hey, let's make sure we don't freaking beat our guys up to where their confidence is gone, right? So I'm thinking that's what they're going to do this week, and I'm excited to get back out there. I mean, that's how I am. That's how I know everybody else is. Like after you take an ass whooping, like I want to come back and I want to run it back. You know what I mean? And I'm excited to see us do it this week.
I really want to see what this team is, right? They were all the way up until last week against LSU. We're like, we think we're good. We think we're good. Now we have some question marks. Let's see if we can answer those questions this week and have a better sense of where the rest of the season is going. Because we talk about the defense, as I knock my mic over here, we talk about the defense, and this is going to be a good opportunity for them to figure things out, right? A&M has not scored more than 24 points against an FBS opponent this year. Right. This is going to be their 5th straight game with a different offensive line configuration. You would hope that if this defense is going to get us to a good bowl, I don't know what the goals are at this point, we should be able to handle this offense.
Yeah, no question, man. I went back and watched the whole Texas A&M Alabama game, skimmed through it, but watched a good portion of it. Also watched some of the South Carolina game. Man, A&M, it looks everywhere. A&M looks really big and physical and fast everywhere on the field except quarterback, and their O-line is their sketchiest part for sure. Their defense, to me, I mean, it looks like a bunch of NFL bodies out there. Like it's crazy looking at their defense. But yeah, their offense, O-line, and their quarterback play is. I don't know how you're in Texas and don't have something better than what they have taking snaps. It is, and we'll see with the 5-star, the Wigman, if he's out there or whatever. Yeah. What he does. But man, we should have success. But then again, if you're A&M, what are you saying? Hey, they're going to try to line it and run 3 down. Durkin kind of knows the scheme. A lot of conversations probably go on during the week on what Ole Miss's weaknesses are all over. It doesn't really mean anything, but it's still, any little thing can help. But if I'm A&M, I'm just taking a page out of everybody else's book. I'm going to freaking line up. I'm going to try to oppose my will on a team that can't tackle, that team that is struggling to tackle, and a defense that's going to give you free access, right? Like, heck, we're going to 1st and 10, they're going to be 15 yards off with 3 down. Like, take it. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot to beat 3 guys up front, right? So, it'll be nice to see how we adjust to it. I mean, we got to know where we're going into, what kind of environment we're stepping into. If we're not lining up, throwing rolling balls of butcher knives at them and pressuring and getting after these guys, then we're not preparing correctly.
No, I agree. You mentioned Durkin. So obviously DJ Durkin was the defensive coordinator for Ole Miss last year. He's now at Texas A&M. What kind of conversations are they having in coaches' rooms? Because obviously not everything is the exact same as it was when he was there last year. But what kind of information is he able to give maybe to the A&M coaching staff?
Yeah, I'm gonna be completely transparent. They're trying to give every little thing that they can think of. I mean, I've done it. When I went from the Cardinals to the Seahawks, we were playing the Cardinals, and I went down on a Monday and just sat in the staff room and went through film with them, gave them every signal, every sign, every little thing, that I could think of to help us win that game. Also give them all the blitzes that I can remember in practice that we could never block. I said, hey, this is what we always struggle with in practice. Here's the blitzes to do. They're doing the same thing, and rightfully so. It doesn't always mean, anything, but hey, you go tell the D-line, hey, if you hear these words, it's the play they're running. It's a run. If you hear these calls, it's a pass. So that'll give them a tell of, hey, I know it's a pass rush, so I can get off the ball, or hey, I know it's a run. I know they're going to be coming at me trying to double team. So there's a lot of little things that little things that can help. But I'm sure Lane, and on the flip side of that, when we were playing somebody that was on the team, we would switch up signals. And, when I was, Matt Nagy, we obviously played the Chiefs and he was Chiefs guy.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, we changed all our signals for the whole week. I mean, everything was just completely different because that's where he got all his signals from. So there's going to be a little bit of that going on for sure.
This is going to be a silly question. It's always been interesting to me. So especially once around 2014, this started happening where all the teams in college football, they would hold up the pictures with the 4 different. What do those mean? Do they mean anything? Is it just eye candy for everybody to think that they mean something? I'm
sure something on those pictures means something, play wise, but there's probably a whole, system they created, all based on the pictures. They may mean nothing. I don't know. I was never in a pictures system. I see it all the time, but if I had to imagine, they're not just putting, holding up signs, and that mean nothing. So I'm sure, each quarter, you also have guys that are wearing different color jerseys too. So I'm sure like, hey, second quarter, or hey, this drive, look at the yellow. Hey, this drive, look at the green. Hey, this drive, the purple means something. I'm sure there's some kind of system to it.
Last thing that we'll talk about regarding the game on Saturday, would you say that our offense schemes up well against their defense? You said you've watched a lot of their defense or a little bit this season. Would you say that is a good we've got a good advantage, or is it going to be kind of strength against strength? Yeah,
we're going to have to really, we should be able to run the ball against them, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a gash fest, right? It's going to be a very hardcore, you pound the rock for 3s and 4s and 5s, and then all of a sudden you break one kind of deal. It's not going to be a lineup dominate them kind of game. They stuffed Alabama multiple times in that game. They got the talent up front, but I do think that if we can get the run going, they're back in. I think that's where we can get some hay on. So I think we'll be fine. But we cannot let these guys get hot. They had some turnovers. They can get to the quarterback. You don't want to get in the game where you're down and have to throw in this one. They got some good-looking pass rushers up front. The D-line is very much looks like a $30 million D-line, if you know what I'm saying.
I do. Yeah, so quick reminder, Ole Miss at Texas A&M this Saturday, 6:30 SEC Network, I believe, is where you can check it out. So we'll have our recap on Sunday for that. Hopefully it will be a bunch of good news and a lot more positive than this past Sunday. But speaking of fits, I do want to talk about Blue Delta Jeans. They are one of our sponsors, our title sponsor here at the Brad and Chad Show. Blue Delta Jeans, handcrafted in Mississippi, custom fit to the one and only you, and shipped right to your door. You can find them at bluedeltajeans.com. You can actually get fit online. Just use their e-tailer. It's a great product. I can't speak highly enough about them. Nick Weaver and them do a great job. Okay, Bradley, we need to talk about our picks because we're terrible at them, but we've kind of committed to it at this point, and we're going to continue on. We're not quitters around here. So I hold a one-game advantage right now, 14-15 to your 13-16. We've got 5 games on the slate this week. Okay, we're going to start it off on the plains of Auburn. Arkansas is laying 4 points on the road against Auburn. Who do you like in this matchup?
Arkansas. I think Arkansas beats them. Straight up. Their quarterback should be back. I think Jefferson, he should be healthy by now, right? I guess. I think Arkansas. Auburn's they're just not a good team, man. Like they're just not. I think Arkansas's got enough to get them.
Yeah, I agree with you here. I do think that this is going to be an Arkansas win, but I don't think they're going to cover. I do think Arkansas is going to keep it. I think Auburn's going to be able to keep it somewhat close for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm just throwing darts at this point, which I've been doing the entire season. But yeah, I do think that Auburn is going to be able to keep it close, but Arkansas is going to ultimately win the game. All right, we've got the world's largest outdoor cocktail party in Jacksonville, Georgia. 22.5-point favorite against the Florida Gators. Who do we have here?
I'm going to take Florida. I think Georgia's going to beat them, but I think Florida will stay within 22 points. It's a neutral site, so they don't really have the home field advantage. I think, again, Georgia they're good, but they've underimpressed in some games. I think they're going to underimpress in this one. I think they'll win 17 points or so.
I agree with you. I do think Florida is going to cover. You've got Tennessee next week. I think Georgia's been pretty bored this season. We saw what they did against Oregon. and they've had some real lulls going the rest of the season. I think this is going to be another lull game, getting ready for that showdown against the Vols next week. I think that's going to be the play there. Okay, our favorite team, Missouri. They are on the road against the Gamecocks, who beat Texas A&M last week. I think that there's no doubt that South Carolina is going to win by double digits. I think South Carolina covers. Yeah. Not even a question. I don't even know why we're even talking about this game. It should have been known. But yeah, I'm a big believer in the Gamecocks this week.
I'm not a sports bettor at all, but I'm almost willing to go out and open up my first ever account. -5 at home versus the shittiest team in the SEC, Missouri. Yeah. Dude, give me Gamecocks. I mean, I almost would tease that up to like 10.
Yeah, take an alternate line. Yeah, for sure. Get some better odds. Yeah, I don't see how the Tigers cover. Well, I'll be eating crow on Sunday for sure. Okay, speaking of the Tennessee Volunteers, they are in Knoxville hosting the Kentucky Wildcats, laying 12.5 points to Mark Stoops and crew. I like Tennessee. I think Tennessee is they're built different on offense. Kentucky can't hold up with them. Yeah, they have Georgia next week. Tennessee is one of the best teams in the country. They're showing it. They're going to comfortably win against Kentucky on Saturday.
Yeah, I feel like that line's a trap. I feel like that Tennessee is very good. Something about the whole law thing. Hey, we know we got Georgia coming up. I can see them just escaping this game by 10. I can see Kentucky going up there and giving them a better game than people thought. I'll take it. It's probably going to be like a 31-21 kind of game.
Okay. All right. So you'll take Kentucky. All right. So the last one is the one that you'll be in attendance for. Rebels going into Kyle Field, College Station. They are, at least right now, a 2.5-point favorite on the road against Texas A&M. What's your prediction?
I got the Rebs by 3. I think that line is pretty spot on. I think it's going to be a very tough game for them. This is one that I think they're going to learn from the previous week. I think they're going to get up on them early, and I think they're not going to give it back this time. And I think it's going to be close. I think they'll get up early. I think it'll end up being a close game. I like the Rebs winning by a field goal here.
I'm right along with you. I kind of pegged this as a 3-point win. I think it's going to be a dogfight. I do think that this is going to be A&M's last gasp to make something of their season. They were preseason ranked 6. They still think that there is something to salvage from the year. This is going to be their last chance, or else I think they're going to lose the locker room after this. So give me Ole Miss -3 or -2.5. I think they're going to cover. So for sure. So if you're following our plays, I apologize in advance for the money that you've lost, but you can check out Jeff Griffin with the Stevenson Griffin Group at Baird Private Wealth Management to help you out. You can go to the group's website at stevensongriffinGroup.bairdwealth.com or give them a call at 662-841-1900. We probably should have asked Jeff to sponsor our scoreboard there. So, so if you're following us, you definitely need some financial advice on those picks. So check out Jeff Griffin. He's great there. Okay. So yeah. That's it. There's not a lot to talk about here with A&M. It's a rebound opportunity to see what we really have. We want to thank Billy Lucci for coming on and giving us some of that insight, that insider information about the turmoil that's going on in the A&M locker room. Let's get ready for the shit talk this week, Bradley. I hope you're going to carry the banner for us and give it all to the A&M there. Are you going to go to Yale practice?
Man, yeah, dude. Can we just talk about this Yale practice for a second? So we send it up every time I see one of those, man. I don't know if I can get on board with it. Like, what are you thinking? What's your?
I wanted to ask Billy, but he had to get out. I was going to ask him about it. Like, look, I don't get it because I'm not an A&M guy.
Yeah,
but it looks like the corniest shit you'll ever see. If nobody knows what we're talking about, get on YouTube and search for Yale practice at A&M. So every Friday night, they basically guys in overalls do a stand-up routine making really bad dad jokes about the opponent. And I think they've been recycled every year since maybe the 60s or 70s. It's a tradition thing, which I'm not going to slander all tradition, but some traditions, it's okay for them to die. And that would be one that I would understand if it did.
Yeah, that just... to be in the SEC, you kind of got to be a tough, roll up your sleeve, kind of group, and that
Mizzou.
That spews is a little bit odd for the SEC, but hey, you know what? We'll take you. You got a lot of money. Y'all buy a lot of players, so we'll take you in the SEC.
Yeah, for sure. So hopefully we'll have a good report from College Station from Bradley on Sunday. We look forward to it. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We do have one final clip that I did want to include. Go ahead and play that for me, Patrick. There it is. Yeah, we had to get that one more dance in. We've basically got a button now that I can call for it.
Maybe I should have been a yell boy.
Yes. All right, so you need to see if you can be a guest at Yell practice on Saturday night. That would be you're dancing just as good as those other guys are. Well, Bradley, be safe going down to College Station. Hotty toddy. We'll talk to you on Sunday. Okay.
See you, Chad. Hotty toddy, man.
Thanks for listening to the Brad and Chad Show. Follow the boys on social media for more content. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. This has been an OM Network production, brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans, made in the USA.